Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. The Village of Sayward respectfully acknowledges the land that we are gathered on, the unceded traditional territory of the Comox First Nation, the traditional keepers of this land. Introduction to late items. We got one.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to add a verbal staff report to 11C. And that is a good news report for a Kelsey Center grant.
Sorry, we're not allowing any good news today.
Oh, yes.
Okay, on C, thank you. Any other introduction late items? Council? No? Good. Approval of agenda. Is everybody okay with the agenda? Minutes of previous meeting. Recommended resolution is that the minutes of the regular council meeting held on April 5th, 2022 be adopted.
I'll second.
Discussion? Opposed? All in favor? Petition and delegations. With Blake Noble's KUB World Presentation, Unique Building Solutions in line with Sayward Strategic Planning. CAO has also asked Building Inspector Carl Neufeld to attend.
Thank you, Mayor. Carl's not able to attend this evening.
Okay. So you're up, sir. You must be Blake.
Basically the voice of.
Sorry, we're used to shorter delegations. There you go.
All right, I'm basically the voice of Cube World. If you could bring up the Cube World presentation.
Yeah. Right now.
Okay.
You can go anywhere you like. Oh,
Yeah, you may want to move it around.
Well, shift all the papers.
Taking your name sign and
You're taking my plaque. Okay, there we go.
Oh, that would-
So it is not KUB. It's not an acronym for something. Okay. I apologize.
Is it just blackboards?
Yeah, flip charts.
Charts, yeah.
Just the PDF, isn't it?
Not showing.
So you have a bike shop?
Ah,
We have one in Campbell River and one in.
Nice.
And one of our delegates is two motels.
Sorry?
Two motels in Campbell River. One is the Above Tide, and we share a portion of that, of the second hotel, the just at the Mark here. And
Oh.
Francois is, okay, Francois is Hugo. So Karen works with Francois. So
Oh.
kind of the basics of everybody. Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
So if you can scroll to presentation. I can't control. Can you hear me now? Okay, so I gotta get a little closer.
Don't have this on, so the microphone isn't working in here, but it's for the recording. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, Cube World, we build structures out of shipping containers. So we do all kinds of different projects. We started with Francois in 2010 under Thinking Habitat. This is the next screen. There we go. So Francois is the history of the company. We, like I said, we build shipping container homes, things like that. Use of shipping containers, construction benefits. The construction benefits of using a CCAN home is they're very robust. They're already an engineered structure. They have their own engineering, so we just utilize that to create buildings of like apartments, condos, houses, things like that. They're very mold resistant. They last a lot longer than wood construction. Architectural benefits, if you could scroll to that. I'm going to give you the short and dirty. So made from the best structural materials available for building right now. There's significant reduction of the architectural and design work because they're already an engineered structure. Solid structure facilitates an installation of large windows, so you don't need to frame in if you don't want to or need to. We also use standardized sizes. We only use one size of container for factory purposes. We're working on getting our factory up and running. Francois does it out in Quebec right now. We're building one in Campbell River. Scroll to the economic developments, please. Or benefits. It has a smaller carbon footprint, which allows for tax credits and subsidies. Use of the recycled Corten steel versus regular steel construction is a 40% savings. Manufacturing delivery times are 2 to 3 times faster. So a standard construction, let's say of a 40-unit condo, would take anywhere from 8 months just to get your permitting. In 8 months of construction, we would hopefully be able to get our permits faster because of the construction design. And it's already an engineered structure. Gives us the ability to do 2 to 3 times faster. So a standard being 8 to 16 months is anywhere from 3 to 4. So it's much quicker, faster. It's like Lego blocks. The easiest way to explain it. It promotes the energy savings of 12 degrees in the summer and 2 degrees in winter, just because it's more of a sealed unit than a standard modular or pre-manufactured home. You can incorporate green roofs and wind turbines, solar panels, everything on top because it is a flat surface on top, or you can put a standard roof style on it as well. It's a very flexible design. Scroll to green benefits, eco-friendly and sustainable, please. Green roofs limit the effect of the heat in the islands. Greenhouse gas reduction, rainwater collection, and urban farming is possible because of the green roofs on top that you can put up there. You can scroll through our products, just scroll through. There's several pictures. These are some of the designs that Francois has done in Quebec already. Next screen, please. Oh, back up 1, 2. More. 1 more. This gives you a rough idea as to, it looks like a standard house when you're building it. When it gets to site, it's preformed. And you get the ability to insulate with urethane foam instead of standard insulation, which again, mold-proof, waterproof. They are waterproof, hurricane-proof, and when we put them on can use screw piles. So if you're in a floodplain, you don't have to worry about the concrete not setting properly. I've worked in the industry of screw piles for 20 years. I've also worked with concrete and asphalt. So I know that the variances, I used to live here in Saybird as well. So I know we're on a floodplain here, which screw piles eliminates that, because when you put in a screw pile, you can actually raise the building up without having to worry about the setting of concrete and concrete wait times. Installation time becomes, for a standard concrete pile, you're about a week for it to cure before you can put anything on it. With screw piles, you can have it in the ground in 5 minutes and build right on it. So construction time is a lot less, and it's very amenable to the soil conditions that we have out here. If you could scroll down past the large hotel designs, please. These are some of the floor plans that we can incorporate. So they're small, unique, little single bed units for like overnight stays, or you can get into double units. Yeah, couple of units as well. Yes, if you could scroll one more, please. This is a three container concept, four container concept. Very large open floor spaces. On all of it, capable of being constructed in a factory, brought to site, and done in a matter of months for a large project. And if you could scroll one more. This is an example of the green roofs that we can put on top of our container buildings. So you can actually garden right on your rooftop. You don't have to incorporate a lot of lawn space. You have it right on top, and it gives you a 14% better insulation value.
Insulation
Yeah, with the green roof.
and compare of what? Yes, but
Yeah.
the most efficient product.
So yeah, obviously a much better insulation value because it's ground. And if you could scroll one more to the Nord project, please. An example of our 2-container self-contained house. You can see underneath it, there's pilings. So quick, easy, simple, done.
Is that what you refer to as screw piles?
Those are actually the pile caps on top of screw piles. So that it makes it adjustable. So for any ground variance, you can adjust it without having to be exactly level with the piles.
That installed on the purchase on ground floor. It's not directly on the ice.
Your screw piles are going down on average, how far? Depending on how many high you're going?
It depends on the size of the project and the ground
Location?
location. They usually go into a torque value, a certain torque value. So it's like a wood screw. It goes
Right.
into a certain depth and how much torque it takes. So that's all pre-engineered through our engineering, the company I used to work for, who's going to supply our screw piles. They engineer all that based on ground condition, rock. They come out, they do a test, and okay, you need this size of pile for this size of building and for the ground conditions. So quick, simple. You can, we bought, when I used to work for the factory, we put a 48-inch diameter pipe with a 60-inch helix into the ground, 40-foot length in 20 minutes. From pin up to final installation.
40-foot lengths.
40-foot length. That's what the company that I used to work for did, and that's why I want to utilize screw piles. Quick, simple. And if you could scroll down to the factory. It's a concept of the factory that we're planning on building in
Here in Saybird?
Campbell River.
I was close.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The reason we chose Campbell River, we're working with the bands and there. I'm First Nation myself. So I have a close connection to First Nation, working with First Nations. I'm from the Burns Lake Band up in northern BC. So we want to work with bands as much as we can. It's just economical, and it develops a good relationship with the Native community.
And this is happening? This
We-
factory?
We will be building it, yes. We don't have it as of this second, but we are in negotiations to get our lease signed and building permits and things from the band. So if you can scroll down to the next screen, please. Our production capacity is what I want to focus on. We can produce these three product lines. We have a concept for 3 and 4 lines. Three ready to deliver containers per day. So we're able to, you're looking at me confused, but yes, we can produce 3 containers per day through the factory, which would equate to one small house,
Livable?
livable house a day.
So you're talking rough in for your plumbing, your electrical?
Yes, it's all factory done. That's what I did I was part of production in the factory for the screw pile factory, and we incorporate the product that Francois was doing already in Quebec. And we are incorporating all the jigging, things like that to make it quicker and faster. We could potentially be 6 a day.
So it's a similar type of construction other than the guts of it is similar type to a modular process, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's a very modular, like I said, it's like building with Legos. It's literally very much like Legos, so that you basically arrive on site and it just clicks into place. All the plumbing's in one place, all the connections for the electrical are in one place. General contractor has, yep, exactly. Next screen, please. So this is the general floor layout of the factory. So that you guys get a good idea as to how we plan on doing 3 a day. So if you need the facilities faster, we can produce it faster than most modular construction. Modular construction can take, to get 3 units a day, or 3 units, it would probably take 4 to 6 days for a modular out of timber stick frame building, where we can do it using our system 3 units per day.
Sorry to interject, but to hit 3 units per day, how many employees are you looking at?
Hold on.
That's coming?
If you could get down to scroll down to factory team. There you go. 19 employees total minimum. So you employ carpenters, welders, laborers, cabinet makers, electricians, plumbers, trucking companies. And if you scroll down one more. This is our concept
Nice.
for the Vista Del Mar. You can clearly see it does not look like a CCAN building. The stone part on either end, there's a stone part there, it's an elevate. And on the other end, you actually go to the upstairs where there's a 5-star restaurant, green roof, and the lobby for the restaurant, or for the hotel. So Francois is going to come up and show you guys the 3D of that.
Okay, great.
Where is the Vista Del Mar?
Do you know where Bob Butters is?
Okay, so it's out towards Willow Point.
Yeah.
The Five Deckers, is that thing on the ladder there?
Coffee shop.
The old style coffee shop?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Burke. And when do you start construction on this?
We're in development right now. We're in our permit stage. So we actually have a pre-concept idea where we're doing condo, hotel, or if permitting doesn't exist for that, we're going to condominium.
Well, I think condo hotels are going to be part of the future with our housing crisis that we're having now. And I can see Campbell River Council, most of them actually being quite excited
They are.
about
I
this.
know Kermit quite well. and,
Yeah.
He's,
Kermit's a good guy.
yes. He's very excited to actually see this go through, and him and a couple other councilors are trying to push it through faster than, but we can also do that kind of concept up here. So if you guys would like something like that here, we can definitely do that here.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. What do you think? You good with it? You good with it? Yeah, you're good with it? Okay.
How many containers in this one?
This is 40, it's 40 or 42. 40, how many rooms? With the new 42 rooms,
So your height on your seat, sorry,
5 floors in total.
5 floors,
In
but you're,
Campbell River, we can't go higher than 6, but there's 5 floors because the bottom level has to be parking because of the King's Tide water level.
right. And you can't go any higher because of the limitations for the fire department.
No, actually, the only limitation we have on that is because of the slope, the hillside
Behind
behind
you,
us.
yeah.
Can't impede the view of the people above us.
Oh, yeah, because the ladder truck can go up how many stories now?
I'm not sure about
Okay.
Camel.
So
Pretty
the
sure
question,
You guys can go higher.
well, we don't have a ladder truck, so actually we can't. Because without a ladder truck,
Yeah, you can't
fire
go-
capabilities are limited. My question though is your ceiling height per unit, 9.5 feet. How are you attaching the containers?
It depends on the code. If you have an earthquake, or in an earthquake.
Just so they can record and they can hear you.
Work in the earthquake zone, yeah, we need to use specific connection between each module for earthquake. But normally outside of that kind of zone, we will. It's all already done. But for two layers, we can well, even in the earthquake zone. So the structure can still have a flex inside in the container. It's rigid, but we have a kind of flex. But engineer will approve, depending on the zone, what kind of connection we have. But we have all the option because all the container have the corner cast placed with the hole. And inside that hole, we can install different type of connection, mechanical, welding, or specific earthquake.
Okay, so for earthquake and hurricanes you mentioned earlier, so what type of winds can it hold to?
The structure is not a problem. So we only have to work on the connection on the ground and the roof connection. So we have, depending on the engineer report and depending on the zone, so we install that in Florida. And in Florida, we have earthquake and the Florida code. And we build with those specification with the roofing and the attach for the concrete base. So we follow the engineer report.
So some of the questions that I have is you said you only use one standard size container.
Yeah.
May I ask what size that is in terms of length and
40 by 8 by 9.5.
40 feet?
40 feet by 8 by 9.5 8.
That's the standard, because that's the standard.
That's the standard
Standard.
IQ container because there's two kind of standard container, the 40 by 8, and the 9.5.
Right.
Now in North America, we normally use the 9.5 called IQ container.
So do you use that, can you drop the ceilings and use that for the wiring and the plumbing and all of that, or?
Yeah, we can use the between containers for the sparkling sprinkler
Mhm,
and all the tubing or wiring.
mhm.
And we keep the ceiling, the steel of the container as the ceiling finishing. Because the ribs on the container
You go in
very
between.
nice, and we keep the complete 8 of 9.5 8 inside.
Okay,
The only place we don't have this 8, it's in the bathroom. We have a ceiling a little bit, and all the mechanical climatization, ventilation pass through those places inside the
for venting and,
Yeah.
How is it that you can put all those windows that were in that video
Yeah.
and not reduce this? Oh, sorry. How is it that you can put all those windows that showed in the 3D and not reduce any of the structure strength from like the engineering point of view?
Because the steel, the structure is a steel structure, and all the window is inside the strong force of the container. So in the 8 large, we put the windows together. So that's why a container could have completely empty on each side, and it's still strong.
because you're not
Keep it
taking
straight.
out
Yeah.
the support wall or
Because the
being right.
corner, the 4 tubing of the corner of the container is our most strong part of the container, and the other for the contreventement, I don't know English, but the walls keep the rest of the structure.
Mhm.
Don't have any.
So hypothetically, I want a cube home, right? What am I looking at compared to wood construction on cost per square foot? Difference roughly.
Normally, it's between 120 and $300 per square foot for the construction, depending on the volume, the project, and everything is be calculated one by one, project by project. But with a volume project, the price is lower, but not only the price, the timeline. So because the plan, we already have our own architecture team. So we have an architect allowed to develop plan here in BC. We have the capacity to sign plan here in BC or in France or in the United States. And that part are very fast. Normally, normally project, only the architecture part of the project could take, if everything's going well, 6-8 months, it's very fast. And we never know when it's finished. In our case, we already know everything we have to do, and the team are specialized on that project. So for example, that project could 2 months develop and be ready for the permit. So it's very fast.
So the savings, or it really becomes into time because $300 a square foot is similar to wood.
Yeah, 300, but
Correct.
If we work on a volume project like that, more the project is big, more we save. And then during the time we build the prefab module in the factory, we can start the preparation of the land at the same time. So the architecture part is sweet and very fast, and the construction part is fast too. So at the end, instead 3 years, we can have a project in 1 year, 1.5 years. We can have a very large project during those times.
So from today's date, let's say from today's date, if somebody in Sayward wanted to build that home, you don't have your manufacturing set up here yet in Campbell River.
We have 2 options. We are ready to install the regular factories, so the one we can have the exactly the same stuff. And we also have another option, small building, existing building, ready and to be up and running in a couple of weeks. So we have team to be operated, but not for a large project like that, but we can start small production very fast. We can start large production in a delay of maybe we need 3 months to build that factory. So in 3 months, we can be ready, but now we're not in a rush because those project is, we need the permit, so we still need add 6 to 8 months to add those permits. So during that time, the plan is to be ready for that project with the large factory. But if we have opportunity to start now with smaller project or even a big project, we have option to in our end. We are ready for the land for the large factory, but we already find another option, small building for production can start not tomorrow, but in 2 weeks because we only need tools inside. We need garage door, capacity to have the container inside, and it's already we already checked those opportunities. The people only wait after us. Yeah.
Perfect. CAO?
Thank you. Yes, my question pertains to part 9, part 3. How did you navigate that in Campbell River? As our building inspector with Strathcona Regional has said, well, this doesn't really constitute a part 9 or part 3 building. So did they must have made some amendments somehow to their building. How exactly, do you know how that came about or? Okay.
But the first project, the first project will be, we all just do the rough part of the building inside the factory, and all the rest of the construction will be inspected on site.
Oh, okay.
So that's why. But after the beginning of the production, we will ask for our specific certification for the prefab module, and then we can build inside and close the wall inside the factory because we have all the specification already done. But for the first operation, for example, that one will produce all the rough, but the wall will not be closed inside the factory.
Okay. Okay.
And that we don't have any G-rough, so it's clip-on panel.
Nice.
So it's easy for inspector to have access to all the construction on the site.
And are they working on a long-term solution for you for their building permits in Campbell River, I would imagine, with it?
Yeah.
Something this size. Okay, so
Yeah.
definitely watching that. And then now you mentioned there's single, there's double, and there's 4 container. Do you also do custom work? And the reason I'm asking that is that'll obviously impact production timelines and that sort of thing, depending on the size of the project. So how do you forecast that sort of coming together, if that's something you're going to do right away or hold back on custom?
Yes, we can. It depends on what opportunity we can add in front. We have to manage from the opportunity. So
Of course.
we have all the option open. We are ready to operate. Of course, we have a plan to develop a specific kind of product or rough thing. So, but in the beginning, we certainly have the capacity. We already did that in Quebec, so we have the capacity to build a very large opportunity of project. We know what we can develop and what kind of project is very interesting. But customized project is not our main goal, but to start a production, to start experience here, we can build some specific custom project here.
Yeah.
And it's not a problem, but it's not the future of the business is not a custom project.
Sure.
It's certainly the volume project.
Yeah. And have you done, and obviously, this concept has been around long time in other areas.
Yeah.
Have you got outside of residential and done more, for example, at some point between the valley and the village, for example, there may be a fire department request. Have you done these sort of buildings in the past?
Not directly fire, but
Yeah.
build bibliothèque for municipality. We build a huge park chalet in the
Okay.
park. We build from some project for municipality. We are very
Okay.
close to Quebec City or Montreal.
Mhm.
So we have I can send you example of more commercial or more municipal project.
Perfect.
Can the ceiling height be higher
Yeah, we can open the ceiling as well.
because you got your four corners that are holding?
Yeah, but for example, for a garage, we can
Right.
only use the container as a wall and put
Yeah.
a classic truss roofing, steel truss roofing, and you
Mhm.
can have a concrete base, for example, ambulance or fire station place.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And in those parts, we can have office and use the story. We can have 2 story of container. So the
Mhm.
like 19 feet high. So it's enough for
Emergency equipment.
Yeah.
fire truck or ambulance. And on the side, we have place for, we have 2 story on each side for equipment or kitchen, all those places. So it's very efficient. It's cheap because we already have those places. Yeah. And the outside finishing could stay on the steel.
Yeah.
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 It's not perfect for the installation, but we can insulate by inside on that case because
With
here
your
the weather
spray.
is not so cold.
So on the outside of the building, you're putting, I know on the inside you're using your foam spray, your spray.
Normally, we insulate by exterior.
Okay, so
The
with the
Turning
spray.
Bridge, we
Mhm.
need that. But here we are limited on for the weather. Because I don't know where we are in the north, the winter could be, I don't know, what is the extreme the weather is.
Oh, it's, you know,
Right.
here, this was the worst winter we've had in 11 years. I think the coldest was maybe -15.
Okay.
So it's not like it is in, you know, Alberta or Saskatchewan
Mhm.
where you get -50. You know, so here 15.
But even -15, we must insulate by exterior and add outside finishing.
So you're using for your outside finishing, you're using either hardy plank or cedar, whatever.
Yeah, Maybex, cedar.
Okay.
Steel panel. Steel panel is, the durability is more interesting. It's still cheap.
Well, it's
And,
fire safe.
Yeah.
Sorry, CAO.
Oh, sorry. We just have to push buttons.
With, with your production plant being in Campbell River and projected to produce 3 units a day, what do you see as your wider network, like servicing the island? Or is this plant specifically just for Campbell River, or will it be
No.
island-wide, or?
Yes, we want to develop, but it depends of the demand. So, but normally we want to can deliver everywhere on the island. So it's not interesting to deliver outside the island because the ferry
Costs, yeah.
is too expensive. But normally the plan is to install minimum 1 factory, but just what's happened very fast, we'll probably need another factory the same size
South.
on the other side, on the other part of the south, yeah. And extend that one.
Okay.
Because after the first proof of concept, we see the same phenomenon in Quebec when we start the production with even the custom building. After the first, because when we say containers, if people say, oh, containers, it's not a serious construction. And when we did a lot of trade show, and when the people arrive in the trade show, they ask us, where is the building with the containers?
Yeah.
You are in the business. No, because the finishing is very high-end and we start in that business. So when the first building is done, we have the proof of concept, we have the delay, and all that stuff could be touched. Then even for a general contractor, for municipality, the solution is very interesting.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Oh, we have another
Okay.
question? Sorry.
One other question, have you connected with BC Housing around their interest in? No.
Not yet, but I work very
Okay.
closely in Quebec with the sub-minister of education.
That answers yes.
Answers yes.
Oh, yeah, oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Okay.
And First Nations housing, okay, excellent, okay.
And for us, everything is housing for us. People housing, low income housing,
Hmm.
and homeless people. It's very important. It's one of our mission is give a percentage of our production to give, not to sell, to give to municipality in collaboration with health service, because it's not only a question of build something. We need people and we need a coordination around all the other part of those, of those,
Support services.
support, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we do in Quebec, but those part is one of those part, and we try to work with the health system, the people on the street, close to the homeless people, the medical service, psychological service, and that's a huge problem. But when all the people work in the same, that's on the same line with a product like that, it's more easy to try to take face to that challenge. Because it's a nonsense and now in a country like Canada, still have person live in the street.
Yeah. It's very sad.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for
Yes, thank you.
everybody coming out.
you very much.
Mr. Park, you talk too much. I'm sorry? Okay, we are going to recess we will come back at 10:02. Does that work? Thank you very much, folks.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you.
Very
Okay. Go again, correspondence. A and B. Does anybody want anything pulled? No? We're good? Okay. Council reports? None. Mayor's report? Or pardon me, reports to committee? None. Mayor's report? None. Unfinished business? None. Staff reports? Crack ceiling. That 24,500 from 2022 road budget, 7,500 and 17,000 from transportation infrastructure reserve be allocated for crack ceiling in 2022. And that to the 2022-2026 financial plan be amended accordingly. And that DKI be contracted to do the work based on the fact that there is no mobilization or demobilization charge. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second? Discussion? Nope. All in, maybe?
Have all of the,
Counselor Polson?
have all of the cracks been identified and around so that we know where the ceiling's taking place?
CAO?
Through Chair, Councillor Paulson, yes, that scope of work will be done prior. The thought from staff is that we have considerable more roadway than budget to be able to do that. So we will be looking at the roadways that would benefit from crack sealing, more over the ones that are now past being able to be addressed through that process. So it will be prioritized through Tony and Public Works.
Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Lift station generators, remaining work. That 11,677.40 be transferred from sewer surplus to the monitoring and security of 4 new generators and lift stations. And that the 2022-2026 financial plan be adjusted accordingly. And that 160 per month be approved for monitoring fees for the 4 generators and lift stations to be funded through the sewer service to be incorporated into the budget for this department. Do I have a motion, please? Second?
I'll second.
Discussion. It's,
Oh,
sorry, go ahead, Councillor Polson.
I just have a concern about the original cost that we get for a project. And then when the project is nearing completion, there's other things that come up that are on top of it. And I thought that was one of the things that we were going to pay close attention to when we were deciding on getting things done. And for instance, with the fireworks bylaw, the legal fees were astronomical in my books. And so now we're looking at another project that is going to cost an extra $12,000 and then $160 a month for ongoing. So it's just a concern, like, do we have this money and where do we get this money from for when it hasn't been budgeted? The original cost was $110,000, I think.
This should have been at the very beginning of this whole process. Because when you put in the generators, if the generator is not working, there's no way, unless they're coming to check them every 4 hours again, to come and check. So this should have been all together at the beginning. Now what's happened for every other project that we do, there's going to be that 15% set aside from that budget for cost overruns. And more due diligence is going to be put into the actual start of the project to anticipate any further cost down the line. But none of the projects in the past, or that I know of, have had contingency built in. So for example, if the bill was going to be $1 million, we only put aside or got grants for that 1 million. We never put that 15 or 10% for cost overruns or whatever could happen aside. So now we're doing that. CAO?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Paulson. Councillor Paulson, I couldn't agree more. So really, when these projects come around, we have to think about the full scope of the project and not the actual physical equipment. So in this case, there should have been budget set aside for the security of those machines to avoid tampering, because it is a sizable investment. And then on top of that, monitoring is critically important, so that, you know, it's fantastic to have a device in place that turns on when the power goes off, particularly when it comes to lift stations. But if one of those machines is not operating as designed, there needs to be monitoring for that. So agreed that this should have been part and parcel with the original quote. This was again a project that was started several months ago, and certainly moving forward, that will be part of the budgeting process. And to the mayor's point, contingency must be added to every project, but not just the actual project itself, but the planning of those projects as well. So, thank you.
So we have all in favor? Opposed? Hearing none, motion is carried. C, verbal staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm very pleased to be speaking today on behalf of Michelle, our rec manager, who did go ahead and apply to Indigenous Sport grant, and she was successful. So she has received notice that we are in receipt of $3,000 to be used for equipment for the Kelsey Center. This is in a grant that, again, is through Indigenous Sport, Physical Activity and Recreational Council. So ISPARC is the abbreviation for that, and they're in talks for other projects and potential grants going forward. But I wanted to share that good news with Mayor and Council.
So does that replace some of the equipment that we purchased in the weight room?
This equipment, I think, is earmarked for other programs, not necessarily the weight room. I can get a more detailed report of that equipment if it's council's wish.
Thank you. Okay, do we have to do a motion on receiving the report? No. Okay, thank you. Number 12, ticketing for bylaw offenses amendment. Bylaw number 482, 2022, recommended resolution that the ticketing bylaw offenses amendment bylaw 482, 2022 be given first, second, and third reading. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second? Discussion?
Is this the bylaw on page 19 that you're talking about, ticketing bylaw?
Yes.
Ticketing for bylaw.
Yes, it is.
I just wonder if there's a small error at the bottom of the page where it says discussion. It says it's the attached amendment bylaw amends bylaw number 422. Was that the
Yes.
number of the previous bylaw, or is that?
Yes, that's the previous bylaw.
Okay, good.
Sorry, 19 is the staff report,
On the bottom?
and 21 is the actual copy of the bylaw.
Mhm.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah, that replaces 422.
Yeah.
Amends.
Amends.
I apologize. Amends. Okay, so do I have a motion, please? Second,
I'll second that.
discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Hearing none. Carried. 5-year financial plan. 483 from 2022, recommended resolution that the 5-year financial plan number 483, 2022 be given first, second, and third reading. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second.
I'll second that.
Discussion. All in favor? Sorry, did we have a discussion?
No.
No? Okay. Opposed? If you have a discussion, we can discuss.
No.
Okay.
Just a sec. Well, I guess I do have a small discussion about 2024 and 2025 when the annual surplus shows a deficit. And I thought that municipal governments were not to operate in a deficit budget.
There was all on the bottom.
Okay.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Hearing none? Carried. New business, special meeting, auditors report, April 26, 2022, CAO verbal.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is a request for staff, from staff for a special meeting April 26 in light of the auditor's inability to be here for tonight. This would be the auditor's report for the 26th.
Okay, so recommended resolution is a council approved for a special meeting for next Tuesday, April 26, 2022 for presentation of the 2021 financial statement and corresponding audited reports. Motion, please.
I'll move that.
Second. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Public question period, maximum 15 minutes. For the purpose of the public question period, enable citizens to ask questions of council about issues that are important to the citizen asking the question. Speakers are asked to limit their question to one each, and if time permits, everyone has an opportunity to ask a second question. Citizens will be asked to state their name and address. Do we have anybody online? No letters? Okay, so we go into in-camera recommended resolution. That in accordance with section 92 of the community charter, the council meeting will be closed to the public at this time in accordance with section 90-1E of the community charter. The council may give consideration related to the acquisition, disposition, and exploration of land or improvements. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second? Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Regular council meeting is adjourned.